I caught my wife with another man, and I am utterly devastated. I, 37M, have been married to my wife, 35F, for 8 years, and we've been together for 10. She's been my best friend and the love of my life. We've been through thick and thin together, and while we don't have children, it's something we wanted, but it wasn't in the cards for us. Today, during my lunch break, I decided to explore a new area and try out a different place. As I was walking down the street, I saw my wife step out of a coffee shop across the road, laughing and chatting with a man I recognized from her work. They looked comfortable with each other. Then, the unthinkable happened. He slipped his arm around her waist, pulled her close, and kissed her. And she kissed him back. I froze. The world around me blurred, and I couldn't move. It was like time had stopped. My heart raced, confusion washed over me, and disbelief crept in. How could this be happening? This was my wife, the woman I love more than anything. I felt glued to the pavement, unable to do anything but watch. They didn't see me. They were in their own world, walking away together. A rush of hurt and betrayal hit me. I felt crushed, like my entire world was crumbling in front of my eyes. I didn't confront her. I couldn't. I couldn't face her or even go back home. Instead, I texted her, saying I'd be staying with a friend who was going through a rough time and needed my support. She believed me. In reality, I spent the night in my car, too devastated to think straight or know what to do next. Last night was the hardest of my life. I couldn't go home, and staying in my car was the only option. This gave me some time to process everything, but it was agonizing. I returned home early in the morning, knowing my wife would already be at work, just to shower and change before heading to the office myself. Mentally, I'm in a dark place. The pain and betrayal are overwhelming, and I can't stop thinking about the life we've built, which now feels shattered. I keep going over everything in my mind, wondering if I missed any red flags. She has been busier at work lately, but I didn't think much of it. Life gets busy sometimes. A few months ago, she mentioned missing the excitement in our relationship, and we had a conversation about it. We both agreed that it was normal in long-term relationships and even made an effort to bring some spark back. But now I'm wondering if that conversation was her way of justifying her actions to herself. I feel like I've been left in the dark. All I know about the guy is that he works with her on a new project. He's never come up in our conversations, and I have no idea if he's married or in a relationship. But someone else might be getting hurt by this too, and that's something I need to think about. I've already spoken to a few divorce lawyers. Although I live in a fault-based state, proving adultery is a long and expensive process, and we'd need to be separated first before filing for divorce. Regardless of what happens, I want to be prepared legally. Tonight, I'll return home and act as if I don't know anything. I want to gather more details about her relationship with this colleague. When I confront her, I plan to reveal one piece of evidence and see how much she's willing to admit. It's important for me to have a clear picture before making any decisions. I've opened a new bank account and applied for a new credit card to make sure she can't access any of my money. If she's been spending money on him, I'm not going to let that continue. To protect myself, I'll use work as an excuse to avoid intimacy with her while I sort everything out. I need time and space to process this. Right now, writing is helping me process my feelings. I'm not ready to speak about this aloud with anyone, not even close friends or family. Therapy will come later, when I can actually face the reality of this situation. I plan to get STI tests as a precaution, given the circumstances. Last night, everything came crashing down. While my wife was in the shower, I checked her phone. She left it unlocked, maybe thinking I wouldn't look. But I did, and I found a separate messaging app. That's where it all unraveled. Thousands of texts. Photos. Late-night conversations while I slept next to her. This wasn't just a fling, it had been going on for months. They'd been meeting at coffee shops, hotels, and for client lunches. She called him pet names, talked about wishing for more time together, and used the same phrases she once used with me, like "you make me feel alive." That was our thing, and she recycled it for him. It felt like everything we had meant nothing to her. Then I found out their upcoming work trip wasn't just business. They had dinners, hotel rooms, and alone time planned. Worse, I realized she had canceled a weekend trip I had booked for us 2 months ago. She claimed work needed her last minute, and I believed her. Instead, she took him to the cabin I reserved for us. There were pictures of them walking by the lake, sitting by the fireplace, wine glasses in hand. She turned what was supposed to be our trip into their romantic escape. When she came out of the shower, I couldn't hide my anger. I confronted her. At first, she denied it, but when I told her everything I knew, the messages, the hotels, she broke down, crying and apologizing. She admitted it. She had slept with him, saying it was a mistake and that she got caught up in the excitement. I asked if she loved him. She said no, she still loved me. I told her how much she had destroyed me, how she shattered everything we built. She begged for forgiveness, saying she'd do anything to fix this, but I was done. I told her to sleep in the guest room and warned her, if she went on that work trip, she'd come back to an empty house. She promised not to go, but I don't believe her anymore. This morning, we barely spoke. After she left for work, I broke down for the first time. This nightmare began. Tomorrow, I'm going to confront the man who destroyed my life. I found his address in her Google Maps history. He's married, too, and I plan to tell his wife everything. I've printed out their texts and pictures. I'm done being the nice guy. This is the last update. My marriage is over.